అందరికీ నమస్కారములు శుభోదయం గురుభ్యో నమః. Today is another good day for us. The second lecture from Dr. K. Nagaraja Rao garu on Mahabharatam. We will welcome him and then hand over the webinar to him after Vande Mataram and Prarthana. We will start with Vande Mataram now by Chala Chittibabu garu.
Vande Mataram, Vande Mataram, Sujalam Sufalam, Malayaj Sitalam, Sasya Syamalam Mataram, Vande Mataram. Subhrajyotsna pulakitayaminim Supullakusumita drumadala shobhinim Suhasinim Sumadhura bhashinim Sukhadam varadam mataram Vande Mataram Vande Mataram.
Vande Mataram. ధన్యవాదాలు చాలా చిత్రబాబు గారు. Let us request Satya Raju garu to start to chant Prarthana.
Namaskaram. Let's do meditation for a minute. Gananam tva ganapatigum havamahe kavim kavinamupamashravastamam jyeshtarajam brahmanam brahmanaspata anasrunvannotibhis sedasadanam. Om Shri Mahaganadhipataye Namaha. Om Prano Devi Saraswati Vaje Bhirvajinivati Dhina Mavitryavatu. Om Shri Mahasaraswatyai Namaha. Gurureva Gati Gurumeva Bhaje Gurunaiva Sahasmi Namo Gurave. Na Guru Paramam Shishurasmi Guru Matirasti Guru Mama Pahi Guru. Jnananandamayam Devam Nirmalaspatika Krutim Adharam Sarva Vidyanam Hayagrivam Upasmahe Sruti Smruti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Pada Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kruto Vande Bhagavanto Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। मातृदेवो भव पितृदेवो भव आचार्यदेवो भव अतिथिदेवो भव। ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्।
ధన్యవాదములండి సత్య గారు. Now let us request Nagaraja Rao garu to continue the webinar.
वरदरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्याये सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. Shubhodayam. Good morning to all of you. Today is the second day. Yesterday, I have given a brief introduction about Mahabharata. What is Mahabharata? Who has written that Mahabharata story? How the Mahabharata story was conceived by Vedavyasa, and how it was delivered to Ganapati, and Ganapati, how he wrote the entire thing, how many years it took place, and what is there in Mahabharata. This type of things, entire thing we discussed. What is the importance of Naimisharanya, and so many aspects we discussed yesterday. And we also discussed what exactly the Grantha contains. It contains of Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, Ihaloka, whatever that is required for this Ihaloka, and what is required for Paraloka, Moksha Prapti. These things are all there in Mahabharata. And also we discussed that the Mahabharata is one of the greatest tests in the literature of the world as a whole, because it is consisting of the basic tests like Bhagavad Gita, Sanasujatiyam, Vishnu Sahasranama, these type of things, the importance of Mahabharata and why we should read Mahabharata. That also we discussed yesterday. Because the great Grantha, which was written long back, some thousands of years back, it was written down. That was, now we are reading that book. Why? What is the requirement of reading that book? Because our cultural roots and dharmic roots are embedded in Mahabharata. In that way, we discussed all those things. We also discussed what is meant by morals, what is ethics. This type of discussion took place. Basically, the entire course is revolving around what I understood is that it is not necessarily to listen to the stories of Mahabharata. What is more important is that the essence of Mahabharata, what is there in Mahabharata, and whether we have understood Mahabharata all these days in a clear perspective, or we were understanding Mahabharata in our own way. This is a basic way of understanding. Here, before understanding Mahabharata, there are certain things which we have to understand. The thing is that there are so many aggressions have happened in Mahabharata by way of films, by way of what we can call translations, by way of individual perceptions, natakas, and all these things. So what happened ultimately is that sometimes the essence is missing. Sometimes some people will be having perceptions about about some people who are really bad characters. There are some people who feel that great characters are denigrated sometimes. All these things are there. So before reading Mahabharata, we have to discard many of these inhibitions. We have to start our entire thing with a clean slate. Because yesterday also I was telling, so many stories which we normally hear are not there in Mahabharata. For example, the story of what is called Subala, Shekuni's father. Shekuni's father, not Shekuni's elder brother, and all the 100 brothers, all those persons were put in the prison, and Duryodhana killed all those persons. This is not at all there in Mahabharata. Draupadi laughing at Duryodhana is not there in Mahabharata. And what we normally feel that Karna is the greatest person and he was giving, whoever that is coming, he is giving all these things. And then rain was coming. At the time he was giving all those things, even though then he put his arrows and took out all this log of wood from his house and gave it to Brahman. All these things, stories are not there in Mahabharata. But still, all those things, we read those things only and feel that he is the greatest character. Sometimes we denigrate the character of Draupadi, but Draupadi is the greatest character in Mahabharata. So like this, all these things are there. Anyway, we discuss over a period of another 4 days. We try to touch upon here and there those stories, because telling the entire story is not my, what is called, it is not my intention to tell the entire Mahabharata story again here. Here, the essence of Mahabharata, what it teaches, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Start with that one first. So we'll be discussing, initially we'll be discussing Purusharthas, we'll be discussing whether and how that those Purusharthas are being discussed. And one more important topic is normally, even at present day situation also, we are bogged down by certain social limitations, that is called Varnashrama Dharma. Normally, criticizing this Varnashrama Dharma as a bad one, something of that nature. What is Varnashrama Dharma really? How it was actually implemented in Mahabharata times or Ramayana times, how it, whatever it may be, and how it over a period of time is it degenerated. This type of issues, because ultimately when we read a story, we have to connect it to the present day situation also. If we don't connect it to the present day,
I think his net connection has gone, so just
should I start it once again, or shall
Continue.
I continue? Okay, fine, sir. Okay, 1 minute. So this is the background is that there was an interruption in something in my system. Okay. Here, so this type of things, Dharma, Artha, Kama, Mokshas, these are the these type of things only. The essence of Mahabharata we would like to discuss from this episode onwards. Maybe today and day after tomorrow and another 2 days. Totally 5 days. One day yesterday it was over. Another 4 days we will be discussing the essence of Mahabharata only. We will be discussing, and here and there we will be touching upon the main story. Main story we will be touching upon only in order to give a what is called projection for what we wanted to tell. For those things, whichever the story is required, the story only we will call out and we will be telling that particular aspect. Otherwise, normal Mahabharata story I am not telling in the over a period of 4 days. So today I will be discussing one of the greatest stories. Initially, I will be telling the story. After telling the story, we will be discussing what exactly the story conveys, what exactly Veda Vyasa wanted to convey to the people at large. Because ultimately, yesterday also I was telling the very purpose of writing Mahabharata or very purpose of writing Ramayana, Itihasas, is that the authors wanted to convey the message of Vedas to the common people. They have to understand it. If they don't understand it properly, because Vedas and Upanishads are the scriptures which normally all people can't read. That is an acknowledged fact. So how do we know the essence of Vedas and Upanishads? Those are to be conveyed to the common people. So the second line is this Itihasas. Of course, the third line is Kavyas, and third line is Puranas, and the fourth line is Kavyas and all these things. Anyway, now the first line anyway we can't achieve. I don't know, because out of the entire audience, how many majority of the people might not have read all the Vedas and might not have read even one Veda also, I believe. Even if we know a little Veda also, the little Veda may be a few mantras only, beyond that not the entire one. So what exactly it conveys, we don't know. That is why Mahabharata is called Panchama Veda, and we are trying to tell the essence of Mahabharata through the Itihasas. So what we understand from Itihasas, so in order to understand Itihasas, today the story is a story of Dharma Vyadha. And the name itself suggests Dharma Vyadha means what does it mean? He is by Vritti, Vyadha means in Sanskrit, Vyadha means a hunter community person. The hunter is by Vritti, he is a hunter. By Pravritti, he treats the path of Dharma. He is dharmic person. At the same time, he is a hunter. Because of this reason, the name has also been devised as Dharma Vyadha. That Dharma Vyadha is teaching to a Brahmin. This is the story. That is, the hunter is teaching to a Brahmin. This is the subject matter. Let us see how the story goes. Once upon a time, there was a Brahmin by name Kaushika. He was a renowned Brahmin and scholar. His ambition was to attain the higher and higher knowledge and attain supernatural powers. He wanted to attain those type of things. So what he did was that he was there in the house and his old parents were also there. But because he wanted to attain the spiritual knowledge, he wanted to leave the entire household duties and just he left the entire all the people and he moved to the forest. He moved to the forest, started doing great tapas. When he was doing great tapas over a period of years, normally what happened is that normally for each and every karma there should be a phala that is there, that is discussed in our scriptures also. It is discussed. Once you do a great tapas, normally you get the fruits, because for each and every karma there is a fruit will be there, good, bad, whatever it may be. That is the reason why we come across Asuras did great tapas. When that do that great tapas, what will happen? They will also be attaining some Brahmadeva or some other god will come before them and bless them. Why they are blessing? Because it's the karma phala, they have to enjoy that one because of this tapas. Here also Kaushika, he attains some supernatural powers. He attained some supernatural powers, and then what happened is that he realized that one, but he has not tested it, and he was sitting and he was contemplating on certain things. Suddenly what happened is that over the tree where and under which he was sitting, there was a crow was there. The crow has put it excreta over his head. It has fallen on his head. Then he touched it and he saw the crow, and immediately he got very angry. He got and looked at the crow with ferocious looks. When he did like that, immediately what happened is that strangely the crow was scorched into scorched into ashes, and it has fallen down. Kaushika immediately realized that, oh yes, I got supernatural powers. He got that because he got that powers because now that has been tested. So Kaushika, but of course he was not having the intention to kill that cow, but still it happened. And one way he was happy and one way he was not happy because he is responsible for the death of a prani. At the same time, he was also happy because he got the supernatural powers, and that has been proved by the death of this crow. But with a heavy heart, anyway, he has done some sin. He has to get his food. He went out and he was going like that. When he went to some place, he found a village where he wanted to take bhiksha. He stood in front of a house and then he was asking for alms. Bhiksha, bhiksha, bhavati bhikshandehi. That is what normally people do. That he was doing like that. There one lady was there inside. She came out, saw him. She told him, wait for some time, I'll bring. She went inside. Suddenly what happened is that from somewhere, her husband also came inside. When he came inside and he was very angry, he was telling that I am very angry like that. And she thought that being she was a pativrata, Pativratya Dharma she was following, because she was Pativratya Dharma. Basically, it dictates that she should give priority to her husband over any other matter. That is the Pativratya Dharma, we call it. And we, at the end of the story, we will be discussing what is the importance of Pativratya Dharma. Also, we will be discussing, because in this particular story, we come across so many aspects. We come across. So Pativratya Dharma basically it involves a sense of sacrifice and some sort of ethical etiquette, this is Pativratya Dharma. So what she did was she started serving her husband. She gave food for her husband, and then when he was happy at the time, she came out with alms for giving it to Kaushika. Kaushika was quite upset because he was made to wait for too long. Then he started shouting, why have you made me to wait for so long like that? He thundered. And then the lady told she was looking cool only. She did not get upset. Be cool, man. So kindly pardon me for my lapse. I did a mistake. Okay, I could not come here. But I am a Pativrata and I will be following the what is called etiquette of Pativratya only. My husband is my God. That is how I treat. He came home very hungry. It is my duty to serve him. My first duty is to serve him. The second duty is for all others, including gods, whatever it may be. And Kaushika, his anger is still going up because what he is telling that, what he is feeling that, do you mean to say that Brahmins are lesser than your husband? Do you know what is the strength of the Brahmana? A Brahmin can scorch the entire world, he was telling. Brahman, I will be telling this. Brahmana yagni sadrusha heyu prithivim. That is what he was telling. Brahmana is agni sadrusha. He is like a Brahmin, is like Agni, he is like a fire. He can entire Prithvi, entire world he can destroy, he can scorch. Even the Lord Indra comes and bends his head before us. And then who are you like that? Like that he was telling. The lady was even now also she was looking cool, and she told one thing. Oh Brahmin, I agree with you. The greatness of Brahmin I never denigrate. I will never I don't say that Brahmins don't have that power. But now I am not a crow to be scorched. I am a Pativrata and I will not be scorched like that crow. That is how she was telling. Then Kaushika's anger came down like anything. In no time he could realize that she is having great supernatural powers. She is also having because he realized at that time that because she got these supernatural powers precisely for the reason that she is a Pativrata and or because he was doing her duty steadfastly and she got this power. He realized like that. Then immediately, because when he realized the mistake, he fell on her feet and begged for pardon and asked her to teach you because I am actually wanted to learn what is dharma, what is adharma, and all these things I want to learn. Because of this reason, please teach me dharma because I now realize that you are a great personality. Because you have not seen me, what happened in the forest. Because when I looked at the crow with ferocious looks and all these things, it got killed. Now you are telling that event you are now narrating here without saying that. Then tell me dharma, what is dharma and what is adharma. The Prativratya, that lady told, oh Brahmin, I will be telling you one thing. But one thing, please listen. Krodha shatruhu, Sharirasto manushyanam dvijottama. Krodha is the Shatru, Sharirasto Manushyanam Dvijottama. That is what she is telling. Krodha itself is the Shatru. Your kopam is there, no kopam, what we can call kopa is, that is called anger. Your anger is your enemy. Anger, if you can't suppress, what will happen is that you are no more a Brahmin. You are no more a human being at all. Yeah, Krodha moho tyajati tam deva brahmanam viduhu. That is what she is telling. Because even gods, what they will be telling is that a person who discards anger and infatuation, that person is a Brahmin like that. The gods also will be telling. The gods whom the gods will be telling that he is a Brahmin, the gods tell that the person who speaks truth, who respects his guru, who abstains violence, and who will be having kindness in his heart, those type of persons only gods tell that they are Brahmins. Other persons are not Brahmins. But then she was telling, what is the importance to claim that I am a Brahmin? That is that here it is only the ethical behavior is the only thing which determine that the person is a Brahmin. Ethics always anchors a Brahmin to a greater heights. That is the important message that she is giving. Because ethics always anchors a Brahmin to greater heights. If ethics is not there, then he is no more a Brahmin. And you are now, you don't have that ethical principles, you are not having. What you are telling is that you are shouting. You are shouting at a person who is following her, what is called Pativratya model. I am having certain, what is called Vratam, I am having that Vratam I am following. Without respecting, without giving importance to all those things. And you try to hurt me. So you are a very angry person. For each and everything you are getting angry. If a crow puts an excreta you, it is an animal which doesn't know that it will not be knowing who is sitting in below the tree. Whether you are a Brahmin, you are a Rishi, or you are a great sage, it will not be knowing. But for a poor animal, for a poor bird, against a poor bird, you look very ferociously and killed it. And again you try to look very ferociously at me, and you are also telling that Brahmins can destroy the entire world, you are telling. So you are very angry looking person. When the anger is there in your chest, and you can't claim the great virtues that a Brahmin normally possesses. So, but anyway, I am telling you one thing, that now I have to go back again inside my house. I have my own duties. Chorus work is there for me. You are well versed in Shastras, I know it. But you are not following, you think that you are following Dharma, but you are not following eternal Dharma. So this is the words normally we come across in Mahabharata, we come across. She is telling the great fact. You know Dharma, but you don't know the eternal Dharma. What is that eternal Dharma? We discuss anyway. So now I advise you one thing. I advise you that you go to Mithila Nagara, inquire about Dharma Vyadha. One gentleman is there. Everybody knows in Mithila Nagara, everybody knows that gentleman. You inquire about his whereabouts, go to him. He is the right person to tell you or teach you Dharma. Go to him because I am not finding time. So like that she tells. Then Kaushika said to a great lady, so you are well versed that you are actually, you have given me a boon in this way. I am a very happy person now. Right now I will go to the Mithila Nagara. He went to Mithila Nagara. He went. Then Mithila Nagara he went, and he was searching for Dharmavyada. People were telling that he is not in this particular spot. He is little outside the village. You go there, like that, and they gave their directions. Ultimately, in one corner of a street, in the beyond some certain place, he was shown one person who was sitting there and selling meat there. Animal meat he was selling there. The person was, he was astonished because whether the lady has given me the correct name or not. Anyway, she has told Dharmavyada. Now the person is sitting there and he is doing, he is an hunter and he is actually, he is selling the meat. She is telling that he is a great dharmic person. Okay, let me check up, and he went there. He went there. When he was approaching, the man actually called him, "Oh Brahmin, please come here, sit here. The good place I am offering you. Please sit here." And I know that the Pativrata has sent you, like that, she was telling. And he was quite amazed again. What is this thing? He has come here and this man is telling that my whereabouts, where I am, and all these things. He is telling he must be a greater person. Then he approached him. Then he told him in the very initially itself, Kaushika was telling that, "Oh, great person, I know that you are a great person because Pativrata has also told me. And you are telling about my anecdotes just on seeing me. So I know that you are a great man. Anyway, what is the business you are doing? You are doing this meat business you are doing. Is it not wrong on your part to do this type of activity?" Like that he told. Dharmavyada, he smiled at him, and then he was telling, "Oh sage, I tell you one thing. This is a business which has been done by my family members. It is my kulachara. My kulachara says that it is we are supposed to do this activity. I can't leave this my kulachara. What is the dharma that is ordained for my kulam from the long past, that I don't want to leave it. Because I want to respect my forefathers also. because they were doing this activity for long, and I am also doing this activity. This is our family dharma, and I have been performing it. So I am not telling all the what is called shlokas here, please, because it is too long. We begin to tell shlokas. Shlokas book is here only. I too don't have I don't have by heart all these shlokas. Yeah, anyway, the book is available. Even now also essence only I am telling. So he was telling, please don't blame me. I am doing this kulachara only I am doing. And one more thing is that in Mithila Nagara, we are staying in Mithila Nagara. The king is there for us. The Janaka is the king here. He strictly follows what is called, he is implementing the Varnashrama Dharma here. Here the Kshatriyas will be protecting the community at large. The Brahmanas will be teaching here, Vedas, scriptures and all these things. They will be acting as purohits for all the people. They do some good for the country as a whole. They do yajnas, yagas and all these things, and they will be living a very, what is called, humble life they will be leading. And there are Vaishyas who are there who will be engaging in business activities, and there are Shudras who will be serving all the persons. This is how this is going on in the system. We follow Varnashrama Dharma. So I don't want to deviate the Varnashrama Dharma that is also there, because this is a society is it is actually the entire society in this Mithila society, Mithila city is going on certain rhythm. The rhythm I don't want to destroy. That is second thing. The second thing is that I do not kill any animal. Please remember. And again, please remember that I don't eat even non-veg. But still, I will be following this activity. There are so many persons in the society who eat meat. They require meat. So I am selling this meat. I am selling. I always speak truth, respect my parents, and I am follow the path of dharma. And then he was telling, you believe it or not, if a person is born in Shudra community and he develops good habits, he can become Vaishya, he can become Kshatriya, and he can Brahmin. He can become a Brahmin. There is no limitation for that. Only thing is that guna and karma are important. This is how we are following the way we are proceeding. That is the same thing we come across in Bhagavad Gita also. We come across what is called Chaturvarnyam Maya Sushtam Guna Karma Vibhagashaha, like that. Krishna will be telling, very famously he will be telling. Guna and karma are the criteria for putting a person in that particular space. And not according to the birth. This is very, very important, which we have to understand from Mahabharata, because birth is not the criteria for deciding the varna of the person. Guna and karma are more important. So Dharmavada continued, because he was telling like this, then he continued, O sage, the occupation of the person will not qualify a man. For what is called true worth of the person is not determined by how, where he was born. The birth will not decide. The ethical person is the only person who will be respected in the society. What he should be follow? He should abstain telling lies. He should be following the dictums of dharma. First of all, he should discard krodha, that is there. And if he, what is called, if at all he commits a sin, immediately, wholeheartedly, he has to come out and he has to tell that I have committed the sin, and he has to repent for it. And if he repents for it, what will happen now? Most of his papam, that is called sin, will go away. Second thing is that if you do great sin by any reason, what you have to do is that you do more and more and more dharma, you do it. If you do like that, what will happen is that your papam will get reduced. That is why only Shankaracharya, and because out of the I am telling, in the commentary of Bhagavad Gita, in one place he will be writing, Dharmena papam apanudati, like that he will be telling. If you do great dharma, what will happen? There are, because we are all human beings, because of this reason, sometimes knowingly or unknowingly we will be doing some mistakes in the life. And we know that what we have done is wrong. What we have done is a sin. If the sin, if we commit, what is supposed to do? Because if it cannot be rectified, you repent it, ask for pardon. All these sins are there. But there are some sins which we commit. Maybe what will happen? It is entire society as a whole. You have committed some bad thing. Because of this reason, so society is suffering. You can't trace it and you can't take back it at the time. What is supposed to do by any person is that dharmena papam apanudati. You start doing great dharmic activities at least. When you do like that, at least a little bit papam will come down. That is what is being told in Mahabharata. So for all sins, one should compensate by doing huge social good. You have to do it. So we come. This is what he was telling. So you do some ethical activities. Then Dharmavyada actually was asking. So he was amazed to he listened to all these things. Then he was asking one question. The question is actually he was telling that I want to know who is a dharmic person, who is not, who is a dharmic person, which is a sishtacharam, which is not sishtacharam. Sishtacharam means righteous activity. No, sishtacharam kathamaham vidyamiti narottama. That is what he was asking. Sishtacharam. What is sishtacharam? How do you define? Because yesterday also some person was asking in the questions and answer session at the end of the class. Somebody was asking, how do you recognize? Because if you give so liberal attitude, at the time people may feel that everybody will be acting on his own way and think that he is a righteous person. Everybody will be thinking like that. How to distinguish it? Some great gentleman asked from this same podium. Somebody asked the question. So then some example I have given at that time and I closed the class yesterday. But here that answer is coming here. Then here he is asking the same question he is asking. Sishtacharam katamaham vidyamiti narottama, which is Sishtacharam, which is not Sishtacharam, how I can know, please tell me. Then Dharmavyada started telling again, says I am telling one thing. There are certain things which you need to avoid. And again he is repeating the same thing. You have to abide by truth. Abstain anger. Always indulge in charity. You may tell that you don't have money, I don't have much worth, much wealth, how can I donate? But thing is that here, that is why only Mahabharata, in some other place we come across a story of Dharmaraja, that mongoose story we come across. And Sattupatta story also we come across. Sattupatta story is one more story is there. What is it is mentioned is that here, how much dana you have done is not important. How little you are having out of which how much you have given, that is more important. That is the message that is given in Mahabharata and many places we come across this story. Maybe in some other day I will be discussing that one. What is Dhanam and all these things we will discuss. Which is the greatest Dhanam, which is not the greatest Dhanam. That type of thing we discuss in some other day. Here what we are telling is that he is telling that you do charity. Every person, each and every person has to do charity. That is Dhanam they have to indulge. Dhanam why? Because you can't say that I don't have money. Even whatever little you are having out of which how much you have given is more important. And then the fourth important aspect is negate the ego. Ego negation should always be there. Because sometimes people will be having a lot of ego. Ego means what is the ego here? Ego is that I am the only person can do this particular activity. I am because of me only the entire office is functioning. Without me, this is nothing. And people will be telling, but that is why only famously in Telugu one couplet is there, what is called Edi Purukutsudu Edi Need. Like that. So many persons have born and here and they got destroyed. That is there, no. Many persons have come to this earth. అంతములేని భువనమంతయు పురాతన పాంథశాల విశ్రాంతి గృహంబు అందు ఇరు సంజలు రంగుల వాకిలు ధరాక్రాంతులు పాదుషాలు భారాం జమిషీడులు వెలవేలుగా సుఖించిపోయిరెటకో పెరవారికి చోట సంగుసు. Like that, a beautiful shloka is there. So here thing is that people have many persons, great persons have born on this earth, they have perished. And even then the society is functioning. So without you also everything can function. So the egoistic person will always feel that I am the only person can do this. I am without me nothing is there. That ego you have to discard. These are the things he is telling. Firmly established in Indriya Nigraha, that is also there. Controlling of senses, Dama, Shama and all these things. So always read, reread, recite, remember what is called Vedas and Itihasas, Puranas and also Upanishads. Do good deeds, do social good again, maintain honesty, integrity, and take care of the parents, taking care of the parents, societal norms. display kind-heartedness. These type of things he was telling, so many things he gave out. Beautiful shlokas there in Mahabharata. One should read this the text only. If you read the text, you will be enjoying the essence of the subject. Then he was also telling one great aspect. That thing is that do you feel that if I have read Vedas, if somebody is feeling and getting what is called elated, that I am the only person who read this entire Vedas. But please remember, what is Vedas? Dharmaveda is telling. Truth is the essence of Vedas. Then what is truth? Sense control is the essence of the truth. That is what he is telling. Sense control is the essence of truth. This is actually sometimes it is very difficult to digest all these things also, because the greatest thoughts, initially he is telling that truth is the essence of Vedas, he is telling. Then he is telling that sense control is the essence of truth. That is what he is telling. Then he is telling that sacrifice is the essence of sense control. Then ultimately he is telling that sacrifice gets established in ethical way of life. So ultimately, what is the thing that Dharmaveda wants to portray to Kaushika is that you follow the ethical way of life, then you are following Vedas. For that, he is telling all these things. So the righteous person should not have the ego. Abundance of patience should be there. That is once for other. That now even we describe democracy. We will be telling democracy is actually giving respect to the thoughts of other persons. Is the essence of democracy. That is what we call now the greatest principles which we are now following in the present day 20th and 21st century Westminster model. We call it. All these things are actually, this is already there. The abundance of patience. Patience means here if somebody is telling something which is repugnant to the ideas that you are possessing, you should have the tolerance for ambiguity. You should have the tolerance to feel whatever that is happening. Okay, this is what is his opinion. Okay, there should be a clash of thoughts, and truth will be emerging out of it. Yours is also a thought. Don't think that yours is the greatest thing. Yours is the greatest thought. The other person's thought may be a greater thought, we don't know. So only when ideas should always be opposed with better ideas. That is what the democracy dictates. Here also what he is telling, all these things he is telling again in Mahabharata, because you should have the tolerance for ambiguity. You should have the tolerance for other person's opinion. Then only you can become a great person. You follow all these principles. Then you always follow ahimsa. Ahimsa is a great thing that is Dharmavada is telling to Kaushika. Then Dharmavada, the Kaushika, he heard all these things. He was getting great thoughts. He was getting. Then he was asking Mahabhava, I would like to know what is violence and what not is non-violence. How do you distinguish himsa with ahimsa? He was asking the basic questions. He was asking because Dharmavada story, actually a story which is containing many thoughts of Mahabharata are embedded in a single story. That is why some people give credit to this to the equivalent of Viduruniti. They will be telling like that. Anyway, this is a great story. Kaushika heard then he was asking what is himsa, what is ahimsa. Then Kaushika was telling, Dharmavada was telling, oh, great Brahmin, I am telling one thing here. Thing is that here, the destiny is there. No? The destiny is super powerful. No one can overcome karma phalam. Each person will have to enjoy the phalam, fruits of his karma, the past births also he has to suffer. Why I am now here, like this, selling meat and all this is because of the karma phala which I have done in my past janma. But he is not discussing his past janma and all this is here. Some other place we come across in Mahabharata, I am also not discussing that aspect, what he has done and all these things. So anyway, because of my past sins, I have been born like this and I am doing this type of apparent sin I am doing. You also felt that I am doing a sin by selling the meat. I know that this is not wrong because I am doing a duty, because it is my duty which I am performing. And I sell meat, but I don't kill animals. That is also there. I am sustaining my life by selling meat since it is ordained by Swadharma. That is also there. Then what is violence and non-violence which you are asking? Then he was telling that the destiny the god decides the lifespan of a person or an animal or an insect or whatever prani that is there. What happens is that at the moment it is ordained that he or she or the insect should die. At that moment it has to die. But if the butcher just kills it and he becomes instrumental for the death. That only we have to understand it. And then he was also telling like that. Then he was telling that if you are killing an animal or some other creature, the animal or creature, the meat if you take out, and if it is eaten even before offering to the gods, forefathers, guests and servants, if you eat it, it is adharma. Any animal, if it is killed and then afterwards, if you are going to give it as offering to the gods, Pitru Devatas, guests and other servants, then if you are eating it, it is dharma only. Then Kaushika was puzzled, eating how to kill animals, is it wrong? He was telling. Then he was telling one thing. What is, or if you are, he was asking some basic questions he was asking. A few people catch hold of animals and kill them for food. You feel that it is himsa. A few people plow the lands, cut the trees, and cut the plants. Don't you feel that it is ahimsa? When you are plowing the land, indirectly or directly, you are killing so many insects and animals. Is it not ahimsa? So it is very difficult to define what is himsa and ahimsa. Now, even the vegetarians also sometimes, you feel that you are a vegetarian, you are not killing the animals. Are you not killing the animals by way of your talk, by when you are walking, when you are doing some other activities? Whichever karma you are doing in each and every karma, there will be some violence will be always happening in the world. The great produce cannot come out. If you want to take out some fruit, the fruit has to be first, the insects have to be thrown out. For that, some insecticide is used. And even anything, something is used for killing those things. While plowing the field, you will be directly or indirectly, you are destroying so many small creatures you are destroying. And then out of that only you are eating. In order to survive, what will happen is that the small fish is eaten by big fish. The big fish is eaten by some other thing. Like that in this world, each and every thing has been designed for the prey for some other animal. Like that, human being is no exception for that. So because of this reason, what you are feeling that it is ahimsa and what you are feeling that it is himsa is very difficult to define. Because I tell you one thing, the one thing is that be as far as possible, being away from violence is a non-violence. This is the definition ultimately Dharma Vyada has given to Kaushika. Being as far as possible, because it is not possible to be away from violence all the time. So as far as possible, being away from violence, as far as possible, is non-violence. This is a dictum that he has given to Kaushika. And then he was also asking. So Kaushika was asking, if we follow the scriptures, that is called Vedas, is it dharma? Because we normally we tell Shruti Pramano Dharmo Yamiti Vruddhano Shasanam, like that. This is a famous statement. Everywhere we come across. This is again written down in Mahabharata only. Shruti Pramano Dharmo Yamiti Vruddhano Shasanam, which is if you follow the dictums of Shruti, that is dharma. That is there. But dharma, what is it okay? If we follow that, then are we in the path of dharma? That is what Kaushika was asking. Then he was telling, Dharma Vyada was telling once again, I agree with you, because if you follow whatever that has been written down in 1 minute, I'll just see the time. 7. Then I feel that it is dharma only, I say. But what is more important is that more than dharma sushmata is important. Dharma sushmata means sometimes dharma is looking like adharma and adharma is looking like dharma. When your life is in danger, he was telling, Dharmavyada was telling, and at the time of marriage, pranantike vivahaja vaktavyam amrutam bhavet, like that. When your life is in danger, or you want to do a vivaham. Vivaham, why means it is a social cause you are doing and a good activity you are doing. So when you are doing that type of activity, sometimes it is okay to tell untruth. By telling untruth, he was also telling, by telling untruth, sometimes you get the fruits of Satya Phalam. By telling truth, sometimes you get Asatya Phalam also you will be getting. So that which facilitates good to people is real truth. This is what Dharmavyada was telling. So sometimes this is, yesterday also I was narrating a small story. I believe I have told the story. The story is the person, mendicant was there. People were chasing. Some people, robbers were chasing. At the time he was adhering to the principle of truth. Satyam vada truth. He told that as I have seen the thieves, the villagers coming and hiding here. Then the thieves came, then got hold of them and killed them. This is the story, because when he wanted to go to the gates of heaven, he was thrown out of the heaven, because the satyam that leads for himsa is asatyam only, like that they told. That is one more place we come across in Mahabharata only. Here the same thing only Dharmamaya was also telling. Sometimes by virtue of telling asatya also, satya also you will be getting asatya phalam. So you need to know what is called dharma sushmata is more important. And that is, for that only we will be telling in the present day examples, we will be telling what we are telling is that the letter of the law is not important, but the spirit of the law is more important. Even the Supreme Court of India also will be telling many times, it will be invoking this particular sentence. The letter of the law is not important. The spirit of law is more important. The spirit behind how the law was framed, that we have to look into the matter. For that, they will be saying how the constitutional forefathers have looked upon that particular situation. So what was the discussion that happened? Many times it will be happening. These are the things, please. Here also he was telling the same thing. The dharma sushmata is more important than dharma. And then in this world, he was also telling why all this adharma is happening in this world. The dharma, this person is telling, one great truth he is telling, Dharmavyada is telling. Every person in this world, what they are doing is that they are competing with any other person. Because of this reason, because of this competition, only all these sufferings are there in this world. Everybody want to excel. Everybody want to be greater than the other person. Because of this reason, what happening is that there is perpetual insecurity, perpetual psychological insecurity, what we can call this is happening. Because of this reason, all the time we want to achieve more, and what will happen is that we will be actually wasting our time. And because of this reason, every human being is suffering only. Even though in the pool of riches, he will be a bad person, a happy, sad person only, because he will be seeing the richness of other person which is bigger than his richness. So competition is one of the causes for what we can call this particular aspect, the adharma only. This is what he is telling. Competition should not be there. Then what he is telling is this: everyone is competing, and this is how he is telling. Then the dukkham is there. No, dukkham is actually the humans always suffer with pains, dukkham, and when the pain is temporarily going away, what will happen is that sometimes the pain is temporarily not there. At that time, dukkham is not there, and they feel that it is sukham. It is actually pleasure. They feel that, but they don't know that sukham is always followed by dukkham. Sukham and dukkham, equanimity. If you are going to take it, that person is a great person, because today sukham is there. And tomorrow, what will happen is that it is normally each and every sukham is associated with the dukkham only. Even if you want to pluck out a rose out of this twig, it will be biting you by way of its thorn. So each and every sukham is followed by dukkham only. So that is that one should realize. Then, then of course, he will also be telling, Dharmavada will also be telling how to attain moksha and all these things he will be discussing. Those type of things I will be discussing. In some other story, I will be discussing mosham and all this is I will be discussing. And then the Kaushika was asking Dharmavyada, I know that you are following all these principles, dharma and all these things, but there must be one reason because of which you are having this great knowledge. Because you are a hunter, I know it. By virtue of your vritti is hunter vritti, but your pravritti is dharmic marga, I know it. But I believe that you have not read Vedas and all these things. But how could you attain these supernatural powers? What is the background for it? Only just because you have followed the path of dharma, you have attained this great tools and all these things. And what is it? What are the things you are doing? That he asked very specific questions. He asked. Then Kaushika again, the Dharmavyada again smiles at him. Come with me. I will take you to my house. He takes Dharmavyada to his house, and then he showed the entire house. Very simple house it was there, and everywhere you can see the spiritual atmosphere was there everywhere. And then he took him to one chamber wherein his parents, old parents were there. And then he started telling, this is my Devalayam. This room is my Devalayam. In this Devalayam, there are two gods are there. My father is there, my mother is there. These are the two persons. I will be always morning when I wake up, I pray to them. I take care of them, caress them, take care of those persons. I perform puja for them only in the house all the time. And these people are Vedas and these people are Ignas for me. Then by taking care of my parents, you believe it or not, I have attained this extraordinary spiritual powers. When you reached me and started inquiring about where is Dharmavyada like that, I could realize that you have already come. That Pativrata has sent you. That is why only I called you and I gave respect to you and I asked you to sit there. Now, with the same supernatural powers, I also can tell you one thing, please listen. When you came out of your house for getting supernatural powers, you have actually, your old parents were there and your father is already a blind person. So what you wanted to achieve something is that you wanted to achieve something great in the outside world by not looking into the inside world. So in your own house, you have not rectified. You have not taking care of your parents. How can you take care of? Because why ultimately the getting of supernatural powers and all this is should be for the sake of the society only. When you wanted to do great things for the society, is it not your responsibility to take care of your father and mother? You are just like that discarded. Now they are actually suffering like anything in your house, which you don't know. Please go home first. You go home first and do service to your parents. Then Kaushika repented a lot. Then he realized his mistake. Then he wanted to go home. He wanted to go home, and he actually then he started serving his fathers and all these things. This is actually the crux of the story. And if you read the real story, you come across many other subject matters of dharma. Many subjects, Martha, Artha, Kama, Moksha, and all these things are discussed in Dharmavyada story. It runs to so many chapters, it runs in Mahabharata, it is there in one Aparva of Mahabharata. Here, what is the crux of this story? Here it says that ethics is one of the important things which a man should develop in his, what is called, in his personality. If ethics is not there, righteousness is not there, and if you are always angry person, and that anger is, as long as you are having anger, you are not a human being at all. So anger should be suppressed all the time. When you curse some person, not necessarily outside person, please, even when we are behaving in your own house also, sometimes there are some mistakes will be happening in the house. Don't feel that you are the greatest person, you know everything like that. Because ultimately what is happening is that your father, mother, whoever it may be, that is there in Mahabharata only, please. What I am telling is not my version. So whatever is the father is there, mother is there, wife is there, children is there, all are independent entities only. At the time of your death, nobody will be following you. Each person will be there on this earth according to his or her punya pala or papa pala. They are born like this. They are struggling in life. Don't feel that you dare to hegemony over all those persons and try to dictate things over them all the time. Thing is that if something going is wrong, immediately you get upset means you are not a human being. What is more important is that here you have to control your what is called ego. You have to control his anger. Then only you can claim that you are going to be a what is called a human being. Then what he's telling is that discarding anger, I have told. And then he was giving essence, I am telling now the summing up of the story. And he was also telling that you abstain anger, you indulge in charity all the time, negate the ego, always read Vedas, Upanishads and all these things. Constantly involved in good deeds only, maintain honesty. That is more important, or truthfulness and all these things. Display kind-heartedness to other persons. You avoid vengeance at all times, because the person who has done something wrong to you also be good to him only all the time. And because life is ephemeral, and you need not have the vengeance all the time in your heart. As long as you hold the vengeance and anger in your chest, it will be scorching you only. That you have to understand. Leading a simple and pious life is more important. Then this is what he is telling. And then in this story actually puts dharma on the high pedestal, as we know, because we discussed all these things. And anger we come across in some other story. I'll tell about anger alone. I'll be telling that it is there. Then coming to important aspect, we discussed pativratya. And some people even now also we have an opinion that pativratya is something. It is actually a slavery to husband, and actually it is not wrong also. Many in the present day society, people will normally feel that what is the importance of pativratya? This is actually we are going back to certain old age centuries, and women are equally empowered, and women are here. What they are telling is that because I don't want to discuss go deep into the matters here. Pativrata in Mahabharata, Ramayana, thing is that what they were doing is that it is actually the duty that a lady has been doing to husband. But here they did not equate it as a slavery. They did never equated. What they have done is that she was given more importance. And each and every story of Pativrata, we come across the phalam. What they were doing is that supernatural powers are being given to that lady. That because here one is in those days maybe what is more important is that it is actually according to societal norms only the functions are being distributed like varnashrama dharma. Here also thing is that because a man is physically more powers he was having than the woman, which everybody can understand even now also. The thing is that here because he was having endowed with physical powers, let him do certain activities of life, and then a physically lesser what is called power strength is having those persons, let them do household activities. This is how the distinction was done in those days. And not that women should not be given an education and all this is never contemplated. We cannot forget that Pativrata was never a slave at any point of time. She has been bestowed with the supernatural powers all the time, and with because of the way she was functioning. Swadharma was actually given more importance in those days. And coming to Varnashrama Dharma also, what I can tell you is that Varnashrama Dharma is actually four Varnas, Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. Here he is also telling the same thing. Here it was never contemplated in the initial stages of our evolution that a man born out of a Brahmin is always Brahmin. A man born out of Shudra Yoni is a Shudra only all the time. It was never contemplated. Each and every person can go to the higher levels, and every person can fall below the levels also. If a Brahmin is there, because in many places we come across who is a Brahmin, the discussion is there in many places in Mahabharata, which means that what I feel personally is that after reading the entire Mahabharata, what we feel is that even in those days, maybe 5,000 years back or 8,000 years back, whatever it may be, even those times also the discussion is there. The discussion is not there in the society, it would not have appeared in Mahabharata. Mahabharata, the discussion is there just because the precise reason is that even in those days also the discussion is there. People were asking why we are destined to do this type of activity, why some people are destined to do greater activity. The discussion was always there, and every time it was clarified that it is not the birth that is going to decide the character of a person. It is only the guna and karma. These are the two important things. The sattva domination is there, rajo domination is there, or tamo domination is there. That person has to be assigned in that activity. And once you go into that activity, you are supposed to perform that activity only. That is actually, is it wrong or is it not wrong? We have to visualize it from the perspective of our today's any corporate office. If you go to any corporate office, what is happening is that there are certain types of persons who will be managing the entire show. They are managers. And there are certain types of persons who will be sitting back door doing computer activities, what is called systematically. They are devising programs, programming and all these things. They will be responsible for the software development and all these things. There are certain persons are there. There are some persons who will be doing the clerical activity, and there are persons who will do marketing activity, getting a lot of business. There are some persons who will be there. Without them also the company cannot survive. There are some persons who can't do all these activities. Those type of persons will be putting as peons, and all these persons, they will be doing that activity. This is the structure of a corporate office. Even now also we find. We can't give a peon the rank of a manager. We can't give this a peon to the person to the status of a software engineer. The software engineer cannot be put to the place of the peon. We are also the distinction has been there, sociological distance has been there in the society for long. It is there. For that purpose only this Varnashrama Dharma is designed. And you believe it or not, in Manudharma Shastra we come across places where we come across situation wherein if a person is born for 8 years, he will be considered as a normal human person only, no, not to be considered as a Brahmin or Kshatriya or Sudra like that. Then one person comes and identifies, when a scholar will be coming and he will be identifying that person, that whether he should be given education or whether he should be given the what is called the work of protecting the people, or whether he should be assigned the work of the business, or whether he should be assigned the work of serving the other person. Once that is decided upon, his varna is decided. Like that, the varnashrama dharma is designed in the earlier days, but why it degenerated over a period of years, the degeneration aspect we are not discussing because of this reason only. As and all this is been born. Now we are equating the Brahmin is Brahmin because he is born as a Brahmin. Vaishya is a person who is born as a Vaishya, and this distinction was never contemplated in the Varnashrama system. So what we are talking in Mahabharata is Varnashrama Dharma we are talking. That is why only Dharma Vyada is highlighting that we follow the Varnashrama Dharma that has been ordained by Shruti, that has been protected by our King Mithila, King Janaka. This is what he is discussing. So this we have to understand in that perspective only we have to understand. Then what else is there? No profession is inferior to any other person. That is also there in this particular story. And it is also an illustration for what we can call Chaturvarnyam Maya Sushtam Gunakarma Vibhagashaha. That is also there in this episode only. Then this is also the Himsa and Ahimsa. Also, the discussion has come out in this story. That is Matsya Nyaya is there because big Matsya will be eating small Matsya. Each and every plant and everything is being eaten by some other person. So it is actually difficult to decide which is Himsa and Ahimsa, and be away from as far as possible from Himsa is Ahimsa. That is how it is discussed. And then what else is discussed is that and out of the way, I would like to tell you, Buddhism is there. Buddhism also they say that you follow ahimsa. And I happened to visit Tibet on one occasion. I felt before going to Tibet, I was feeling that Tibet is a place where only ahimsa will be there here because it's a Buddhism they are following. No, state religion is Buddhism. In the state religion is Buddhism, only vegetarian food is available there. And you find it, you believe it or not, in the entire Bhutan, I did not find a single vegetarian hotel. Everything is non-vegetarian only. Then only I started inquiring because people follow Buddhism. Then I contemplated why Buddhism is followed here. Why only non-vegetarianism is there here? Yeah, then I realized, then I asked some scholars only, then they gave me the clarification that it is not like that. Buddhism is actually following ahimsa as far as the sacrifices are concerned. In the sacrifices, they opposed the system of animal sacrifice only in what is called yajnas and yagas, and never for eating purpose. For eating purpose, it is quite okay only. And believe it or not, Buddha, how he died was, he died at the age of 80, and by eating the pork on that day, and he got a dysentery. Out of dysentery only he died. And this is a reference also, you can have it. A.L. Bhasham is one person, great gentleman is there. He has written a book, Wonder That Was India. And in that book, we specifically mentioned it. It says Buddha died of dysentery and due to the eating of pork. And like that he has written. So here, eating meat is not actually in Buddhism also. It is not restricted. It can be eaten. Only thing what they opposed was that animal sacrifice in the yajnas was condemned. That is, of course, this is one thing. What else the story is conveying? The entire story is conveying that ultimately, if you are going to sacrifice an animal or something of that nature, you would first give it as what is called nivedana should be done to the gods, pitrus, guests, and all other persons. Then if you eat it, is not easy himsa. This is other, because here the story is so radically, it will be discussing certain aspects. Some people may not like it, I know it. But thing is that what is there is reported in Mahabharata only, I am telling nothing else. If you read Dharmavyada story, this Dharmavyada story is supposed to be the story which is for the purpose of understanding. Believe it or not, some 2-3 decades back, not 2 decades, some 3 decades back, this was there in the textbook. Used to be there in the textbook. Dharmavyada story. Even when I was a child, 8th standard itself, I was having Dharmavyada story, little story I was having. When I came to the PUC level, that is into 10+2 standard, that time also we were having this entire Dharmavyada story. We are having in Telugu, of course, in Telugu poems we were having. So this is one thing this story is conveying. But now, because we are in the name of secularism, what we are doing is that we are not entertaining either Mahabharata, Ramayana, and Bhagavad Gita. We are not entertaining in the classrooms, which is pathetic, because this is never against secularism. This is actually more secularism than what secularists claim, this story. And then one more thing is that there are some societies in the world as a whole who discard the parents. Taking care of parents is not, the importance is not given by many societies across the world. But in India, what we are giving respect is that Hindu way of life. Respecting the parents is given a lot of prominence. The entire story ultimately comes to an end, which says that if you are taking care of your parents carefully, and if you do that, Pitru Runa is given more prominence here all the time. Even after the death also, you have to do that Pitru karmas, you have to do it, because once you are totally serving those persons, because they have reared up and they have given all these activities of your life, then your life is actually magnum opus. So that is how this story will be telling. This is the subject matter. Then at the end of, before closing my lecture, I would like to throw some questions. So here, question is maybe dharma is basically avoiding the dictum of labor, because dignity of labor. And can you corroborate with the story of Dharmavyada? This is one question. Dignity of labor, is it okay? Then Varna is according to the what is called by birth. And again, not according to, Varna is not according to the birth, it is according to your guna and karma. Do you agree or not? This type of questions, please. And the entire scholarship, the what is called, whatever that we have by hearted out of Vedas and all these things, is useless if we don't do our basic responsibilities. Can we say that this is correct or not? The anger is there again. If anger is there for any person, he cannot claim himself as a great person or a great human being or a great Brahmin. Will we agree or not? Then what is who is the real Brahmin? If at all you want to claim to that status, what are the qualities that you have to develop? And again the story is telling that any person can attain the Brahmanatvam. So for that, what he or she should do it. Brahmanatvam is something different from a Brahmin, caste Brahmin, that we have to understand. How do you distinguish dharma and adharma? Is it, or should we follow dharma or should we follow dharma sushmata? Should we read the letter of the law or should we see the spirit of the law? Then what is vegetarianism? What is non-vegetarianism? What is himsa and ahimsa? How do you distinguish all these things? And then, and the final question is that by incorporating the stories of this nature of dharma vyada into the textbooks, are we violating the principles of secularism? Because whenever I read a story, I try to analyze it for the contemporary life also. Not necessarily in the true fashion that is there, something reading it and from the perspective of the traditional perspective only should not be read. My feelings are different and you may agree or you may disagree. You have to ultimately connect it to the present day life. If we connect it like that, maybe are we really from the beginning of our life society? The final question is, are we democratic? How we respected the principles of tolerance? Did we respect the principles of tolerance? Did we respect ambiguity all the time? And how the society has evolved over a period of times. And Mahabharatam is giving answers for all these things, or not giving answers for all these things. These are the so many questions. Wide range of questions can be thrown out of this particular episode. With this, I would like to close because it is already 7:45. And now, if anyone wants to ask anything, that you can please ask, please.
Dhanyavada, Nagaraja garu. You, at the end, you have asked many questions. And the participants even asked more than what you have asked. So there are many questions in the chat box. Chala Chetibabu garu.
Yeah, right. I'll start the question there. As there are so many questions, hope we can cover one by one in a crisp manner. Okay, the first question is, it is said that a result of good karma and bad karma cannot be compensated. If someone does papam or bad act, can it be neutralized with punyam, good deed?
Sir, that is actually debatable question. Normally, different places we come across that if we do papam, we have to what is called, we have to endure that papa phalam, we have to endure like that. But again, Mahabharata is a practical book only. What as I told, it is actually what it says is that ultimately, if we say like that, if you have done some papam and it cannot be removed at any point of time, what is the message that we are going to give to the society? We are saying that you are destined to be like a papisty, a person who is discarded for that particular aspect only is there. Then there is no incentive for doing good work. Ultimately, the very purpose of this, our Vedas or Puranas or Itihasas, whatever it may be, is that a person should not be destined to be always a papa phalam. If he is enjoying like that, there he should be having some incentive to do good work. That is why only Shankaracharya, great scholar, what he has written and says, what he was telling is that dharmena papam apanudati. You do going on do good karmas because punyam and papam are two things. Actually, this is punyam is one thing and papam is one thing. And if it is growing, because it is like a story of Timmarsu, and how do you make a line, a bigger, smaller one? By putting a bigger one beside it. That is what there we come across in Vijayanagara's kingdom story, we come across a Timmarsu story, we come across. The story is that a small line is there. How do you, one line is there. How do you make it small without erasing it? Put a bigger line over it, then what will happen? Normally it will come down, no? Here also, the ultimate purpose of scriptures, whatever it may be, is that to establish righteousness in the society. When you want to establish righteousness in the society, if you say that it is papam is always there with you, you have to suffer miss. People will not do good at all. So that is why only he has written dharmena papam apanudati. If you do going on to great deeds, it will certainly reduce. We have to go according to that dictum only, because nobody has seen what is a papa palam and punya palam. We have not seen and we have not experienced.
Yeah.
Only after death only maybe we may be knowing or we may not be knowing. All these things are there. But thing is that as long as we follow this dictum, at least some righteousness will be established. People will tend to do more and more good things. That is the idea of this. More here also spirit of the law only we have to see it, not the letter of the law. What I say.
Okay. The other question is Brashtachara is in opposite to Sishtachara.
Yes, sir.
Is it true? Then how do you define Brashtachara?
So here, the story itself says that Sishtachara, what are the qualities that should be there for Sishtachara, he has mentioned. Some 10 or 15 items he has mentioned. So opposite, if somebody is following, the person is always angry person, always indulges in dishonest activities, always doing what is a bad thing to the society, harming other people, doing always violence to other persons. That is all Brashtachara only. Because for Sishtachara, when it is defined out in the story itself, when Dharmaveda was, Kaushika was asking what is Sishtachara, he has given certain parameters. He has given this is Sishtachara. You do these activities. If you are not doing those activities or doing the other activities, totally opposite to those activities, that is Brashtachara only. Naturally, that Brashtachara will lead to you what Papa. Sin is it.
Okay. The next question is, in Mahabharata, can you please explain role of great scholar Vidura, son of Brahmarshi Vyasa? What good did he do to Kuru dynasty? No one listened to his wisdom. He did not participate in war.
That should be discussed as a separate aspect only, sir. With Vidura character, trying to define or discuss Vidura character. In a simple 2-3 words, we can't tell. Only thing is that only one crisp way, if we want to tell me, sir, Vidura always is a great Gnani. Great Gnani. He is the person, maybe only a few persons in that particular society who realized that Krishna was a god. Because God, yesterday also I was telling God, maybe in our own presence only. Of course, God is there everywhere. That is a different aspect. The physical form, some God is appearing. Sometimes we discard him. He is not a God. He is doing some miracles only like that. But he is the only person who realized that Krishna was the embodiment of that Mahavishnu Avatara, like Bhishma, Vidura, a few persons. That is why only, even though he was a people labeled him as a Shudra, but he is a great scholar and a Brahmin, more than a Brahmin like that. And he could deliver what is called the lecture, entire lecture of Viduraniti, the entire thing he has given. And many times in each every time, whenever anything adharma is happening across, Vidura was the only person who was coming out loudly and he was telling that this is adharma. There are many persons who, even including Bhishma, sometimes he could not tell that it is adharma because he was abiding by his what is called Shevaka Dharma he was following. Vidura is the only person who comes out of the clutches of that all these things, and he was telling openly, he was proclaiming which is dharma and which is adharma. But his words were never listened by Dhritarashtra, because Dhritarashtra is actually a known murkha, people tell, because he knows that he is also knowing that Krishna was a god. Of course, Duryodhana was not realizing it. Dhritarashtra was blessed to see the what is called avatar of the entire Vishnu avatar. He could see it with personal eyes. He has seen it. But in spite of that, he made a great mistake that his sons are going to win the war. That is a foolishness only. He could have realized it, but he did not realize it. Or he could not control his sons. That is also there. So this is why Vidura's character is a great character. But thing is that he was not given importance by any person in the sense in the court of the Dhritarashtra. Why he was not leaving that place and why he was not coming to this place means here he was also a dutiful to his brother, because he already his brother is not having eyes. Who will take care of him? So he was always with him only. He was always with him and serving him. Even after his death also, he was there in that place only. And ultimately, when we are going to he took again Gandhari, Kunti, and other persons to the forest, and there in the forest, all the people got destroyed in the fire. That is also there. So he was he was committed to the family. He was committed to the family, and he felt that that was his dharma. Because somebody has to take care of his brother also. He was there with him all the time. And of course, Vidura character itself is a great character, and many places it comes across. And anyway, that in 4 days also I am not discussing his character. I am not contemplating because some other aspects I wanted to discuss, please. Anyways.
Okay. The other question is, were girls given Gurukula Vidya similar to boys in Mahabharata times?
From Mahabharata, I too don't know, sir, because whether it was given or not given in Mahabharata times, I don't know. Because Gurukula's type of education, I don't think it is given, but I am not sure. When what I don't know, I can't tell also.
Okay. What is dharma and adharma? There is a thin line to differentiate. Depends on time, situation, and opportunity. Desha kala, etc.
Yes,
It
sir.
is. If so, what is your take on this, please? If it is different from person to person,
Yes, sir.
depending on their perception and choices.
Yes, sir. This answer is already given in the story itself. So the thing is that here we have to distinguish two things in order to understand dharma and adharma. One is that we always tell that is only one set of morals will be there, and ethics is some other place is there. And if we equate ethics with dharma, then morals is something different and ethics is there different. Morals change from time to time, place to place, and also from person to person they will be changing. Person to person also it will be changing as the question has come up. Because what is morals for me may not be morals for you. That is similarly, what are morals today may not be morals after 10 years. What are morals 100 years back are not morals now. That doesn't mean that you need to what is called negate that particular society. And similarly, place and place also it will be changing. So I normally this question whenever comes up, I used to give a beautiful example. Some 6 or 7 months back, Times of India, one news item has appeared. The news item says that a girl was riding a bike in Saudi Arabia. Then she was immediately arrested. And then what happened is that here the arresting of that particular lady is, suppose any other girl is traveling or riding a motorbike in India, absolutely no problem. But it is done like that in Saudi Arabia. Here that doesn't mean that Saudi Arabia is bad. The morals of Saudi Arabia dictate that girls should not ride a motorbike. That is the reason why she has been arrested. Similarly, when I visited Dubai some time back, when namaz was going on at the time 1 o'clock, without knowing it, I wanted to pluck out some banana which is there in my bag, and I wanted to eat in some place. Somebody came and objected. A new person, you are not supposed to eat, but namaz is going on. And then this is some morals which are that particular place that is there. And similarly, we are also having some things it is there. We normally equate, we should not kill cow, we will be telling. That is the morals for us. But if we go to some other countries, it is also like any other animal only, they will treat it and they will kill it and they will eat it. That is not immoral for them. So here the morals also will be changing from time to time, place to place, and person to person, it will be changing. But whenever those things cannot be applied in the regular day-to-day life, because we are working with in an environment where different types of persons will be mingling and they will be sitting there, and each person's morals will be different, each person's perceptions will be different. That is why only people say that whenever this type of situation arises, what you have supposed to do is that you apply rationality or reason for that particular moral. If it is standing to the test of that rationality, then what is more important is that the rationality test it should pass. Thing is that here whether that particular aspect is doing some social good or whether it is going to offend the sentiments of some other persons, whether it is honest, whether it is truthful, whether it is following to the dictums of what we can call ecological existence, whatever it may be in the society, whatever that is happening in the society, are we destroying the in some way or other way? Are we contributing to the good cause or bad cause? These type of things we have to analyze and we have to assess it. When we assess it, what will happen? It is if the particular moral is standing to the test of the reason, follow it. If it is not following to the test of reason, what we have to do is that sometimes you need to avoid it only, even though it is told by great Vedas and all these things. Even Dharmavyada is also telling the same thing. But ultimately in life, what we have to do is that you need not break the law. You can always bend the law to suit the situation. You can, because suppose sometimes a discussion will be happening. You need not offend other person. Suppose there are some people in India, people will be claiming, what is wrong in eating beef? I will eat beef. And what I suggest to you is that you eat beef in your house, but don't eat the beef in the presence of so many persons, because you are offending the sentiment of other persons. As long as you are offending the sentiment of other person, you are not ethical person. What is more important is that you have to see the society, you have to see all the people. Your right to have your food is always there. But thing is that your right is limited. The limitation is that you are not supposed to exhibit it in the presence of other person. That is dharma. In the house, whatever you want to do, you can do it. But thing is that this is how we have to distinguish dharma and adharma. Suppose there are some people, one university, great university in India only. What they did was that they were eating beef when Jain festival was going on some 2 years back. Great Jain festival was going on. They were doing penance and they were doing fasting. They were doing. At the time, these people were claiming that we are doing our food to eat is our right. Right to eat food is there for us. Your right to food is always there. We don't say that it is not there, but you don't eat it in the presence of other persons whose sentiments is getting affected. And as long as you respect that sentiment, what is dharma only. If you offend their sentiment, it is a dharma. Like that, in the Dharma Vyada story also, it is the same thing is being told. It is very difficult to follow ahimsa because everybody knowingly or unknowingly will be following ahimsa. Only thing is that you put it for what is called nivedana, you do it. Once you do nivedana, social good, you do it. Give it to some few people, then you eat it. That is not adharma. That is a very practical way all problems are getting solved by reading the Dharma Vyada story. What I can say.
Okay. Then next question. How do we classify one varna is higher or lower than the other?
Yes, sir. That is actually greatest subject in Manudharma Shastra. It is stated that in olden days, because now Varnashrama Dharma is not there now. We are having only castes we are having now. When Varnashrama Dharma was being followed in a strict fashion, at the time, as I told you in the story also I told, there designated person means a great scholar of great intellect with equanimity of mind and intellect. That person used to decide observe the character of the child over a period of 7 years or 8 years. So then he could come to a conclusion that this boy is fit to be a Brahmin, this boy is fit to be a Kshatriya, this boy is fit to be Shudra or Vaishya, whoever it may be. And then, of course, is it how he can decide and who is the person to decide, and all this is the rational questions now we are having. Those days, initial stages of this Varnashrama Dharma, those things were not there. They used to decide it with good, it is called trust, and all this is people used to follow him. Once that is decided upon, accordingly, whether she should go to Gurukula or whether she should go to business activity or whether he should do this menial activities, that has been decided at that stage. And whatever may be his birth, that was the situation. Over a period of years, what happened is that because of this reason only Mahabharata, this Varna, who is the Brahmin, who is not Brahmin, can Shudra can become a Brahmin, Brahmin can become a Shudra, this type of discussion, not only here, Yaksha Prasnas we come across, and Husha Prasna we come across, many other places also this question is being brought up very, very frequently, it will be coming up. At the time, it was always told that a Brahmin can become a Shudra if he discards good qualities. A Shudra can become a Brahmin by virtue of adopting these qualities only, please. Guna karma viva. That is why only Chatur Varnyam Maya Asustam Guna karma vipagashaha, like that Krishna telling in Gita. Like that it happened. But the degeneration, how it happened, that is a great subject which we have to do great research only why it degenerated like that and why we are here like this. We are now like this because we are ridden with caste, and caste is being perpetuated now, because even now also caste is getting perpetuated because of the political reasons, electoral politics is happening. Because of this reason, I don't think that the caste will get evaporated at any point of time. My personal perception, because as long as you are promoting casteism in one name or other name, and elections are being fought on the issue of what we can call caste only, and how can caste can be removed. And each caste is becoming a pressure group nowadays. So this is not the degeneration aspect. Degeneration aspect, anyway, we are not discussing. That is the sociological matter. Here, what we are discussing is Mahabharata only. In Mahabharata times also, this how you are going to decide a person's guna is a debatable question again at the time itself. Maybe much earlier to that age. Maybe this system might have been there. And then subsequently, and the Brahmin birth is being the great determining factor for deciding the personality, and because of this reason only all this generation happened.
Okay. Next question is Mithila King Janaka is in Ramayana. How come it is linked to Mahabharata in the present story of Dharma Vyadha? Is he same Janaka or somebody else?
No, sir. Here, what I told is that Dharmavya, the story only I told, but I never mentioned that it happened in Mahabharata times. This is actually this Vanaparva, we come across Vanaparva, wherein Pandavas were there in the forest. When they were there in forest, suffering a lot, Dharmaraja very frequently, whenever any great sage or rishi or muni comes to his place, he will be asking, because he wanted to get some solace. He was asking some questions and the person was giving some answers. So then he was asking a question to Markandeya Maharshi. Markandeya Maharshi began to tell a story of long past. Long past means maybe might have been happened in Ramayana times only. We have to take from inferences, we have to draw like that only, because it might have happened in the Ramayana times only. And that same story has been repeated here now.
Okay. Okay. Whether this Buddha is the one that is Dasavatara, please clarify.
No, sir, the Buddha, the Gautama Buddha, what we see, Buddhism and all these things, that Buddha is not the Buddha which we are having the avatars. He is some other person. Because in Mahabhagavatam we come across that story, wherein Buddha story is also there. All these 24 avatars of Vishnu are discussed there. In the 24 avatars, the Buddha avatar is also mentioned. That Buddha is totally different from the Buddha whom we now talk, because his name is also Buddha. It happened like that. So Buddhism is no way connected. Buddhism is actually, it is opponent of Hinduism, which discarded the what is called worthiness of Vedas, and they did not believe in Vedas like that. But this Buddha is actually a Sanatana Dharma, as a person who believes in Vedas and dictums. So both are different.
Okay. Shall we take Al-Basha's book as Pramana for Nirvana of Buddha? Is it not cooked up information?
But this is there in Buddhist scriptures also, it is there, sir. Jataka tells also it is there, not necessarily A.L. Bhasham, because A.L. Bhasham is considered to be, he is actually A.L. Bhasham's The Wonder That Was India is a book. Normally, many scholars believe that even though he is a foreigner, and he has come and studied India and he has written down, he is a true, because in many other places where the virtues of Hinduism has to be praised, he has praised it. Unlike people like Romila Thapar and other persons who normally try to deceive, what is called, denigrate the greatness of these persons. So he tried to at least praise wherever that good things are there. He praised immensely, he praised. So that is why people still believe. Of course, Aryan Dravidian theory still he talked, because at that time, by that time, all these things were not there. What is called A.L. Bhasham, when he wrote this book some years back, at the time Aryan what is called invasion of India, that theory was not dispelled. Now only that has been dispelled. Even now also, of course, they are there in the textbooks of NCERT also, it is there. That is a pathetic situation. But on those days it was not there, so he wrote that also. But in many places he has written the two tests only he followed. And more than A.L. Bhasham book, we come across in many other places also, we come across a reference of what is called Buddha eating pork meat and dying at the age of 80 years. Many other places also we come across. Jataka tales also it is there.
Right. Babu Garu, can we go ahead with the questions or?
Yeah, how to apply Prativata?
Yeah, I'll okay. I just was asking about the time.
It is
Yeah,
almost 8:15, sir. Today I think we can close only, sir, because you two want to go to some other place. One more.
Okay. Okay, let us close and then tomorrow we will take up these questions.
Fine, sir. No problem.
Okay.
Tomorrow you may give a little more time, so.
Yeah.
Fine, sir.
So
Tomorrow is festival, no, sir? Day after tomorrow.
tomorrow is a festival. Tomorrow there is no class.
No class. It's a day after tomorrow. Fine, sir.
Ugadi. So day after tomorrow we'll meet again
Yes, sir.
and put this message in the group also.
Fine, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, sir.
And,
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, we will now chant Prarthana and Janagaman and close. Satyaji.
Yes. Yes. स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महीषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितो ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः अपुत्राः पुत्रिणः सन्तु पौत्रिणः अधनाः सधनाः सन्तु जीवन्तु शरदां शतम् सत्यं वद धर्मं चर स्वाध्यायान् मा प्रमदः सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः सर्वे जना सुखिनो भवन्तु लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु स्वस्ति.
ధన్యవాదములండి సత్య గారు. Now let us request Tala Chittibabu garu to recite national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंधु गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्छल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तब जय गाथा जनगण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे जय हे
Jai.
जय
ధన్యవాదములండి తలా చిట్టిబాబు గారు.